Anointed warriors, what up, spiritual family? And welcome back to Mount Fitness MBS Ministry, where I am your host, Brother Mongoose. If you are tuning in for the first time, guys, please be advised that I am not your traditional minister, nor is this your traditional type of ministry. For more information about what I mean by that, please stay tuned to the end of the video. But for now, again, let me formally and officially welcome you guys. I do appreciate all the love and support that you guys pour back into this ministry. And a special shout of love and support goes out to my long-term subscribers and long-term supporters of the ministry. Without further ado, we're going to get off into today's topic. But actually, let me digress for a moment, man. What I'd like to do is to ask you guys to, hand on heart honest, make a note that if and when the moment you begin to feel like this message is resonating with you, the moment you feel that, or the moment you begin to get an inclination that, maybe, just maybe, there's somebody out there that this message could provide value to. The moment you do that, guys, please stop right then and there. Hit the share button. Even if you don't hit the thumbs up and you don't hit the subscribe, which I really would appreciate it if you do. Do me a favor. Do those out there that could benefit from today's message, do them a favor. Hit the share button, if you would, please. I'll probably recycle that towards the end of the video. I'll also give you guys some information about what makes me a different kind of minister and what makes this a different kind of ministry towards the end of the video. But without further ado, let's get off into today's topic, man. We're going to be talking about and posing the question of if whether or not you are actually sealed by this thing that we call God. We're going to be posing that question. I'm going to be putting forth some indications and some signs that could help you determine if whether or not you have been actually sealed by this thing that we call God. I would be remiss if I didn't point out the fact that in addition to and outside of the things that I'm going to be listing as potential signs and indicators, there are an array of additional things. There's things that's not on this list. There's things that maybe he has downloaded to you in your spirit. Maybe he's shown you by way of something that's taking place in your life in the physical aspect of your life. And if whatever the case may be, if there's something that I don't mention, if there's something that you feel he's revealed to you and you'd like to talk about it, you'd like to get my 2 cents, my expertise, whatever the case may be on the matter, then remember that email link will be down in the description box and give you an opportunity to reach out. And I'd love to have dialogue and or discourse with you. But moving on, we know for a fact, very factually speaking, that there is a mark of the devil. Yes, he marks his children. And there is the seal of God. Yes, he seals his children. A seal, guys, well, we know what a mark is. Oftentimes, a mark is not necessarily considered something positive. It can be. But a mark, if you had a piece of paper or a brand new car and it got a mark on it, in street verbiage, a mark is a guy that's, that's a victim. A girl that's a victim. That's a mark. The definition of the word sin is when you miss the mark. If you had a bow and arrow or you're playing darts, you're aiming towards the middle, you miss the mark. That's the essential definition of the word sin, to miss it, to not get it. So the mark is not necessarily considered to be a good thing, but the seal of something is typically always considered to be something good. If something is sealed, it can't be interfered with. This is why you seal your meats before you put them in the freezer. This is why you seal your envelopes before you mail them. This is why you sign a contract and seal the deal. But either way, there is a mark that is associated with the enemy, and then there is a seal that's associated with this thing that we call God. This seal is both a spiritual as well as a literal physical seal that can be seen with the human eyes, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Before I do, let's talk about what the seal actually means. What it means that you belong to him. When that envelope comes in the mail, it's sealed, lets you know who it come from. If you're mailing it, it lets them know where it's going. It's sealed. They put a seal on the food that you eat to show that it's safe. It hasn't been tampered with. You get a seal of approval. Lets you know whose you are and who it is that you belong to. The owner of that property. It lets you know, if you're sealed by God, it lets you know that you belong to him and that you are his child. So that's what it is. It's a seal, an indicator to the world that you belong to him. It's an indicator that you are divinely guided, divinely protected, and no matter how it's delivered, your daily provisions will be divinely provided. That's what the seal means. That's what it represents. Now, there's biblical precedence for this seal. A couple of these Bible-based precedents consist of, in the good book, when the prophet told them to wear a headband, wear a certain headband, and to wear a certain wrap around their wrists to seal them and to keep them in remembrance of whose they are and who it is that they belong to. We know about the seal that Moses went out during the final plague prior to the children of Israel being released. There was a seal because that plague of death was appointed for that city. That plague of death that went through and wiped out all of the firstborn in the children of Israel. This seal had to be placed over the doorways. You guys may be familiar with the story, maybe you're not. But if you're not, Moses was instructed to take, some blood that was of a very sacred cow, a cow that he had prayed over and blessed, to take that blood and wipe it over the doorways wherever God's children slept. So when that evil, deaf spirit that came in and killed all of the firstborn in Egypt, and that's where the children of Israel were at that time, this seal would protect them, and that death spirit would not enter into that household. Additional Bible preference for the word seal and the fact that his seal is real is during these final days when the four angels are released from heaven to destroy this world, this satanic world government, and to wipe it out, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. The four angels were dispatched to each and every corners of the world, the four corners of the earth. And yet there was a fifth angel that was also dispatched. And right before the previously dispatched four angels unleashed the final whirlwinds to destroy the earth, the land, the grass, the inhabitants, the fifth angel said, hold on a second. Touch not the earth, nor the grass, nor the winds, nor the soil, nor the inhabitants until after this fifth angel have gone through the land and sealed God's children, sealed them in their foreheads. So we don't have to guess. We don't have to enter into supposition or conjecture. There's absolutely zero ambiguity when it comes down to if whether or not this seal of God actually exists. And as I mentioned, this is both a spiritual and a physical seal. We talked about this, the spiritual seal. This was a spiritual death that was going through the streets of Egypt and that wiped out the firstborn. It's not some man, woman, boy, or girl, some kind of monster. It was a spirit going through in the land that wiped them out. And the blood was a spiritual seal presented in physical form. You comprehend? The blood was physical. But you don't think this spiritual element of death looked up there and saw physical blood and kept moving. No, it was physical and it had a spiritual element to it as well. So we talked about it being both physical and spiritual. Some additional signs, indications, truths that it is both spiritual and physical. And the reason I say this, guys, because depending on where you are on your journey, you may not have awakened to the fact like this is a real thing. Like you have or others have not been sealed. And so we gotta establish the fact that this is a real thing first. How can you believe in something? How can you be beholding to something if you don't even know or accept the fact that it's real? This realness of this being a spiritual and a physical seal is in your aura. Your aura is a spiritual thing, but it can be seen with the physical eye. Your blood DNA, the blood that's oscillating within your body, that's racing through your veins, your DNA, if you have been sealed by God, your blood DNA, when they put this, now you won't get a lot of people that's even aware of this, and you certainly won't get a lot of people that are willing to stand on this truth, primarily because they're just not aware of it. But the fact of the matter is, if they take the blood of someone who is sealed and they put it under a microscope, that blood emanates a light. You heard me, a L-I-G-H-T, a physical light. that's not there in the blood, the physical blood DNA of someone who does not carry the seal. If you'd like some information on some specific places that you can go to verify this, to do your own research and reach your own critical decision about if whether or not this aspect of the seal actually exists, then reach out to this ministry. Remember, that email link will be down in the description box. In addition to your blood throwing off light, bright colors under a microscope, in addition to your aura being all these beautiful and high-powered colors, there's also the truth that your seal can be seen by examination, physical examination of your frontal lobe. The frontal lobe of those who have been sealed is very different, slightly different, but it's obviously different, noticeably different from the frontal lobe of those who are not sealed by God. This thing that we most commonly refer to as God. Science has proven this. It's been a well-kept, or lately a not so well-kept secret, that they can look at your physical frontal lobe. Why the angel said, let us don't touch the earth until we have sealed them in their foreheads. So that's just a brief intro into the fact that this is real. Now that we know that the seal is real, let's talk very quickly about some of the signs and some of the indicators that you, or maybe not, have been sealed, or maybe not, by this thing that we call God. Let me start by saying that one of the most important things is that in this day and age where everybody, their personality, their beliefs, the constructs in which they operate, maybe slight variances to them, but ultimately everybody has a what's in vogue type of mindset, type of ideology, type of way of being. And we live in this day and age where everybody needs confirmation. Everybody needs validation. Everybody lives in this look at me type of world. And you don't. You're going to be you. You're going to do you, whether someone acknowledges you or not. You don't need confirmation. You don't need validation. And you don't need validation or confirmation from your friends, your spouse, your children, from me, your pastor, your imam, the Pope. You don't need validation. He has sealed you to the point that you know that you know that you know that you know you know. And so the Pope and 10 other big men could show up and tell you that you're not this. You're not going for that. He's already sealed you. The Pope and 10 other big men could show up and tell you that you are this. You're not going for that. He's already sealed you. And if you're walking around and you're thinking and you're knowing that you know that you know that you know who you are, what you are, who you belong to, and you don't need validation from anyone, that's an indication that you have actually been sealed. Another indication is your beginnings. This may shock a lot of people, or maybe it doesn't. But your beginnings are very modest, very frugal, very humble. You can search all of the religions that you want to search. And I challenge you to come up with more than one who was born into riches, fame, military might, political influence, fame, kingdoms and palaces. The only one that I know of, and I could be wrong, but the only one that I'm aware of was Siddhartha, the Buddha. And the moment he became aware of his spiritual awakening, he walked away from it all. He intentionally became a peasant. He voluntarily introduced himself into homelessness and poverty. So if you come from those type of background, we know Christ was born into a situation to where he didn't even have a blanket to cover up with. Somebody had to gift his parents those things. Most of us who carry this seal, if not all of us, we have very frugal, very humble, very modest beginnings. Poor, poverty, these kinds of things. And so if you can look back, and whether you're still in those kind of conditions, or if you've advanced by the grace of God and got a little bit more, as we would say, for yourself in terms of these earthly trinkets, because that's all they are. But whether you have or whether you haven't, you can look back on yourself and say, you can look back on your life and say, man, we had it rough. I didn't have no money. We didn't have no new clothes. We barely ate. Our neighborhoods was riddled with drugs and crimes and gangs and poverty. That could be a clear indication and a sign that you have been sealed. If you've gone through that and now you stand with a clean heart, a genuine love, justice, fairness, equality for all heart set, and you've come from that, could be a clear sign and indication that you have been sealed. Another sign and indication is the fact that most of us who have been sealed, we've made tons and tons of mistakes. That's just the fact of the matter, guys. He didn't come for those who had it all together. What builder shows up to build a house for someone who's already living in a mansion? What doctor shows up to give an exam to someone that's already totally healthy? Most of us have made, the old saying, I've made my fair share of mistakes. Most of us that have been sealed have made our fair share of mistakes, along with the fair share of mistakes of enough people to fill a football stadium. We can be honest enough to admit that. It's that honesty, it's that acceptance of these mistakes, these errors, these poor choices, these bad beliefs, wrong and unclean ways, that we can sit back and say, wow, I don't believe in any of that crap anymore. I don't partake in any of that no more. I'm all about love and faith and justice and harmony and courage and wisdom. By you admitting all those mistakes and realizing that you've been redeemed from those things, that's a clear indication that you have been more than likely sealed by God. The reason I say more than likely, guys, because obviously we got people that have gone through those type of things and fit this criteria, but at the end of the day, their hearts are still in left field. These are just signs and indications. They're not the end all be all. He is. And he uses things like fellowship, prayer, meditation, a mind, body, and spirit approach to life. He uses these things to reveal to us if whether or not we have actually been sealed, or if those were just phases that we went through and we didn't get anything out of it. You comprehend? Another sign or indication that you've been sealed is that the type of challenges that you faced, the type of tribulations that you've had to overcome, the type of labors you've had to endure. When you look back, and some of you guys may be still in that fire, and we all are, pardon me, to a certain extent, we're all still in some aspects of that fire. We're going to remain there until he decides that the time is right to remove us from that fire, or some of us, some of you, some of his children may be in that very fire, fighting that battle until he returns and busts this system wide open. But either way, you can look and you can quickly ascertain and deduce that, hey man, not only can I see that these challenges, these tribulations, these labors would have destroyed / broken most people. I don't have to presume that. I've seen that. You've seen with your own two eyes. People being broken, becoming disgruntled, falling into despair, turning their souls over to darkness for things that are a lot less than the challenges, tribulations, and labors that you've had to face, overcome, and endure. So that is another clear indication and sign that you may very well have been sealed by God. As we continue to push forward in this, guys, and I'll try to be brief, another sign and indication is the fact that, you know what, you've always been a misfit. You've always been a misfit. And you've always been okay with being a misfit. You've never wanted to be anybody other than who you are. Yes, you've always wanted to grow and evolve and expand and you achieve a better, higher expression of yourself through this thing that we call God, but you have never wanted to be anybody other than you. And you realize that, you know what? I never did fit in. I never played and ran and sang with the kids like everybody else. I never did that. I never wanted to. And I was okay not doing those things. And even when we went through these seasons, don't miss this, even when we went through these seasons, whatever that season looked like for you, for me, if you guys know my story, it was gang banging, it was criminality, it was drug use, it was arrogance, it was pride, ego, all of these different things. Even when we went through that, that's just my season, whatever your season was. Whenever you went through that season, when you were in the world, behaving as the world, conducting yourself along worldly beliefs and systems, you still never fit in. You never fit in then. You were playing the part, but you knew it was never your role. You never fit in. And you've always been okay with that. That's a clear indication that you may very well have been sealed by this thing that we call God. Another indication is that you faced betrayal by family and or your very closest and dearest friends. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, because whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger. So it depends on how you want to look at it. I know for me personally, I've been betrayed by both. In particular, very, very dear family members, very, very close family members, that right now today, they are plotting, scheming, conniving. They're telling lies about me. They're trying to indicate me into all kinds of BS that they know I'm not about. They know I'm not a part of. But because they are my family and I may have to talk to them or visit with them, and they may be doing whatever BS that they're doing, and they're trying to lie on me and implicate me in some stuff that's just totally false. But in addition to that, I've had very close friends and very, very dear family members that I was with sincerely, committedly, and staunchly from day one, supporting them, having their back, uplifting them in every imaginable and every conceivable way. Everything I could do, I did, and everything I couldn't do, I tried. I've been betrayed by those people. They waited, we would say, seemingly, but I know it was all by a plan of theirs, a plan of my Heavenly Father, to be more exact and precise. But the moment they felt that I was down, they thought I was broken, beat up beyond repair, I would never stand up and rise again. The moment they saw that, now all the bumps in the road prior to that, I've had their backs, they've had mine. Over oh so many years and decades. I'm talking about family members from birth, and I'm talking about close, intimate family members since they were born. I've had their backs, they've had mine. There's been bumps. I needed them, leaned on them. They needed me, they leaned on me. But the moment they decided that I was, in their minds, broken, fallen to never rise again, this is when they showed their true colors. This is when they started the lying. This is when they exited my life, left me hanging, left me for what you would call on the side of the road. And so if you faced family betrayal of the closest, most dearest kind, or betrayal from your friends, intimate, long-term friends, friends that, again, you've had their back, they've had your back. But all of a sudden, when it seems like you needed them the absolute most, they made it clear to you where they stood. And they made it obvious to you that, hey, we was just waiting on you to fall in a place where we felt like you couldn't get up. And we've been waiting on this, and now we out of here. Now we're going to start the lying, the smear campaigns. We're going to start irritating you, agitating you, trying to attack you, make you doubt yourself. They're going to show all these colors. If you've been betrayed by family or intimate friends and you're still standing, you have not resorted to bitterness. You have not resorted to retaliation. You have not resorted to abandoning your grandkids, your kids. You set boundaries. You're walking a straight line. You're counting on him for divine guidance and protections. But you're not bitter. You're like Joseph, when even though his brothers betrayed him and they stood before him and he could have easily ordered their execution, he moved in forgiveness. If you have that heart set, that mindset, in spite of their betrayal, that could be a clear indication and a clear sign that you have been sealed by this thing we call God. Let me try to be brief, guys. Another clear indication potentially is the fact that you just seem to make most people uncomfortable when you come around. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to be wearing a certain something. You don't have to be standing a certain way, singing a certain song. You just need to show up. And in that, you automatically sense the energetic change. The conversation stops. People start looking. People start staring. People start snarling. A lot of these people even begin to go from covert to overt with their disdain towards you. And all you've done was showed up. They make it obvious to you that you make them uncomfortable. They don't want you around. They hate you. They despise you. They become openly rude. And some try to openly attack you, whether it's verbally, physically, spiritually, condescending statements, all this different stuff. If you just walk into a room and most people seem totally put off by you, regardless of how humble, how kind, how approachable, how friendly, how respectful you are, all these different things, that's a clear indication that you may have been sealed by God. Remember, God says He set you apart. You were never meant to fit in. He said you are a strange and a peculiar people that have been marked by Him and set aside. You fit in your own lane. And when you walk in just in your own lane and everybody else go, their scanners go haywire, they start hating on you, attacking you, trying to demand your attention, validation, trying to demand that you compete against them, acknowledge them, that's probably a clear indication and a clear sign that you have been sealed by this thing we call God. Another sign is, guys, this is going to be a little bit more longer, but I'm getting there. Another clear sign, guys, is your discernment. Another clear indication that you quite possibly have been sealed by God is your discernment. Like you have hyper vigilant discernment. You know that you know that you know that you know, and you know a lot quicker than immediately, and a lot more rapid than right away. You just know. This person is hurting. This person needs a hand up. This person is genuinely curious. This person is a Decepticon. This person is seeking to pull me off my square. This person has ill intent. This person's heart is in the right place. Whatever the case may be, your discernment, you know, from a holy place, not from an intellectual place. You know, you can discern, you can read people, environments, situations, circumstances a lot more immediately than instantaneously. And again, that's not you from an intellectual space. The good book says that the wisdom of man is foolishness to God. We're not talking about from an intellectual standpoint, from a holy place. You know, your discernment is that turned on and turned up. It's a good indication that you've been sealed by this thing we call God. Try and speed this up, guys. Another indication that you've always, from the very beginning, you've always had this quest for knowledge, for wisdom, and for understanding. I don't care what it was about. I don't care what it was about. Breeding dogs, painting houses, boy and girl relationships, world government, who God is, the truth about racism, why black people go thugging, whatever it is, you've always, how to bake a cake. You've always had this quest for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. It's just an innate thing. Like you're curious, you question, you investigate. You love knowledge. You love wisdom. You like getting yourself to a point to where once you know how to paint this house, and you know what colors to use in the right proportion in which to mix those colors, and you know what brush to use and which direction to paint. Once you know that, you've always been committed to, okay, now let me go out here and utilize this knowledge. Wisdom is a walk. It's not just about me knowing that. Let me see if I can go out here and actually apply this knowledge. You've always been fascinated, intrigued, moved, and committed to moving in wisdom. That's a clear indication that you may very well have been sealed by this thing that we most commonly refer to as God. I'll give you guys a couple more. Now, another one is, guys, that you, within your inner self, you have a peace and a faith that literally surpasses all understandings. Doesn't mean you don't doubt. Don't mean that you don't go through these seasons where, you know, you seem like you're stagnant, unsure of yourself, questioning God, like, man, what did I do? What mistake did I make? What do I need? What did I need to correct? We all go through those seasons. But in the midst of it all, no matter how bent, how shaken you've been, you've never surrendered your faith. Some of you guys are in situations and circumstances right now. It's been so many years. It's been so long. The enemy would have you think that you're too far gone. Now you wasted too much time. The superficial reality, the hardcore nuts and bolts of your finances, your health, your relationship, your reputation, all these things stand boldly in front of you saying, hey man, no, it's game over. And yet your faith remains. You don't know how it's going to work. You may not even, quite frankly, you may not even know if it is going to work. But what you do know is that God can turn it around. You know that. If it's meant to work, I ain't got to worry about it because God can turn it around. This is your faith. When you go through all these storms, again, whether it's health, relationships, betrayal, whatever the storm is, people hating on you, making you feel unwelcome, wanting to challenge you, whatever the case may be, you have a peace that surpasses all understanding. And yes, you are a spiritual being having a human encounter. So you may get angry. You may sometimes lose your cool, overreact, underreact. But it's not long. It's not long at all till you return right back to that centering of you, which is a centering of faith and peace. If you're going through storms, if you've been through storms, and you still have your faith and you still have your peace intact, and no matter what happens, you can always regurgitate and recycle your faith and your peace, that could very well be a clear indication that you have been sealed by this thing we call God. You also begin to notice, guys, another indication is that, hey, you know what? All kinds of people are attracted to you. All kinds of people are attracted to you. And you're able to sit back and realize, okay, hold on a second. This has got nothing to do with my looks. This has got nothing to do with the guy or the girl in the mirror. There's a guy or a girl over there, whatever the case may be. There's a guy over there that's twice as young, driving a way much better car. All these different things. He's got so many friends, so many social media followers, so much political connection and influence. Surely it ain't me, not to me when I look in the mirror. You know that. And yet the truth remains that all kinds of people are attracted to you. People that are malevolent, or they have malevolent intentions, and those who have benevolent intentions. They're all attracted to you. You notice that? And you notice that you're not doing anything. You're not running any campaigns. You're not putting on a facade. You're not stepping on anybody's toes. You're not challenging people. You're not being Pollyannic or politically correct. You're just doing you. And yet people of all branches of life are attracted to you. When you notice that, that could be a good sign that you are sealed by this thing that we most commonly refer to as God. Another thing is you've always loved helping people. You have a good heart. You've made tons and tons of mistakes. You've had bad ideas, poor conduct, misbehavior. You've done a whole bunch of wrong, but there is a difference between doing wrong and being wrong. And you've never been a wrong person. You've always loved helping people. If it's helping people with a word of advice, a word of encouragement, financial aid, sharing wisdom, whatever it is, you've always genuinely loved helping people. You like making people feel better. In fact, me personally, the more I help others feel better, the more I feel better. I become stronger the more I make others stronger. I become more encouraged the more I encourage others. So this has always been something that was naturally given to me, and there's probably 100% chance that if you've been sealed by this thing that we call God, it's always been something to one degree or one extent or another that's always been true of you. You've always loved helping people. You got people out there that say, you're just a taker, you're never a giver. But these are the people that are trying to get inside your head. These are the people that truly, truly admire you. They truly, truly look up to the fact that no matter what, you're always trying to smile, laugh, be upbeat, help someone financially when you can. All these different things. These people know this. It's important that you know it. You've always had a natural love, and you always will have a natural love to help people. Even though people try to tear you down, manipulate you, deceive you, spread lies and rumors about you, you still have love in your heart. For God, for yourself, and for them. You always love helping people. I'm going to get out of here, guys. I'm going to give you guys maybe 2 more. Let's see. Your dreams at night are extreme. You have extreme dreams. I mean, they're very vivid. You wake up from dreams sometimes and it's like, wow, was that really a dream? Detail upon detail, you recall it. The intimacies of it, the strengths, the challenges, everything that took place in your dreams, it's very intense. And you let this be an indicator to you guys, because one of the most known ways in which this thing that we call God communicates to his people, it's not just through prayer and meditation, but it's also through dreams. I'm going to get out of here, but if you'd like some biblical preferences on that, some scriptures I could direct you to point to how God has always used dreams, very extreme, very intimate, very potent dreams to relate to his children and communicate with his children, reach out to me. That email link will be in the description. I'd love to point you to some scriptures about that. Another one, I'll get out here on this one, guys. You have my word. Another indication that you could very well be sealed by God is that people, and I want to say most people, but the fact of the matter is, it's usually all people. It's usually all people. All people think that you are a lot younger than they think you are. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Some of you guys are walking out there 60. Some of you girls are walking around 60, 70. And if you ask somebody that's got a pure heart and that's taking a real guess at your age, you 70 years old. They might say 40, 42. You 60 years old. They may say late 30s, early 40s. You just look much younger than you actually are. You appear much vibrant. Your rays, the glory of God, your glowing rays, your energy, your body posture, your movement, your strength and flexibility, your direct eye contact, your skin, your muscle tone, whether you're in shape or not so much. These things, all these different things running together or individually, it causes people to guess and to presume and to think, to estimate that you are a lot, and I mean a lot younger than you actually are. You've aged beautifully, gracefully, immaculately. And that could be a clear indication that you are indeed sealed by this thing that we call God. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, guys, there's tons and tons of other indications and signs that you may very well be sealed by God. That's just what was given to me. I was going to try to squeeze all that in 30 minutes. We're sitting at 50 minutes, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it. Because as you know, Rome was not built in a day. In fact, nor was Africa destroyed in a day. So sometimes these things take time, guys. Today it took a little bit more time, but it's all by his divine timing. I appreciate you guys for hanging in there. I hope that this message was edifying to you. If it was, I'll present you with that same question that I did at the beginning of the video. If this message was edifying to you, if you found value in it, please hit the share button. Take this same message, pay it forward, and allow this same message to have an opportunity to be fruitful to someone else. If the message was not fruitful to you, but you think just maybe there could be a possibility that someone else could get value out of today's message, then please don't procrastinate. Start by hitting that share button. Pay this message forward. Allow it to go out there and to also be beneficial to someone else. Please also hit the like and the subscribe if you aren't already subscribed to help grow this ministry by way of the YouTube algorithm, and hit the bell icon if you'd like to receive a notification when I upload a new message. If the Holy Spirit moves you to make a monetary contribution to help me be able to spend more time making these kinds of videos, but more importantly doing the research, the study, the prayer, the cross-referencing, the reviews of opposing positions and reviews, the prayer, the meditation, the implementation, the observation, all the things that goes into making these videos. If you'd like to support me to be able to help me spend more time doing these things and holding myself accountable to you guys by vetting all of the information, insight, views, perspectives, and accountability if and when the Holy Spirit would inform me to do so, then please, you can support me and help me spend more time doing these things by going to the Cash App link down in the description box. And please remember, no amount is too small. As far as what makes this a different kind of ministry, guys, I touched on it earlier. This is a mind, body, and spirit ministry. Although I trace my origins back to religion, I'm not handcuffed by the teachings or the dogma of religion. So this ministry is promoting a holistic mind, body, and spirit approach to life, to health and wellness, and to running the race that He has set before us. This holistic mind, body, and spirit approach consists of real-world services that are designed to help nourish and strengthen you in your mental self, your physical self, and your spiritual self. These services consist of experiential-based philosophical consultative services for the mind, ISSA certified fitness training for the body, and clean-hearted spiritual teachings and practices for the spirit and for the soul. Additional services provided by this ministry, in which this holistic approach is also utilized, consist of good old-fashioned motivational speaking, as well as youth and young adult mentoring and counseling. For more specific information about these services, in terms of what they consist of, how they're implemented, and how they can be beneficial to you, then please watch a video that's titled MBS Service Tutorial. Please also visit the physical fitness branch of the ministry located at mountfitnessmbs.com. And as far as what makes me a different type of minister, you're going to want to watch a video that's titled My Testimony and Disclosure. You may very well be turned off by this ministry, or you may be very well inspired by this ministry. Either way, my point is, why wait? Why wait to realize that this ministry is not for you? And why wait to be inspired and encouraged? Again, that video is titled My Testimony and Disclosure. So I'm going to get out of here, guys, but not before I, as always, encourage you guys to live a life that prioritizes faith over fear, truth over tradition, knowledge over nonsense, love over lust, and people over profit. That's what I got for you guys. I love you guys. The email link, the Cash App link is in the description box. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, there's additional signs and indications. Reach out to this ministry if you'd like some further analysis, interpretation, motivation, prayer, whatever, to help you discern and move forward in the embracement and the utilization of those signs and indications. But whatever the case may be, remember, man, if you're sealed by God, I told you from the beginning what it means. That means you're divinely guided, you're divinely protected, and that no matter what comes what may, the whole world could collapse. They could have food shortages and chaos all across the board. You're going to be protected and your daily provisions will be met. So that's what it means, guys. Reach out to this ministry if I could be of service. If I could be of service to you, schedule your initial consultation and evaluation in any or all of the services that I mentioned, and reach out just for a good old-fashioned fellowship if the Holy Spirit moves you to do so. That's what I got for you guys. I love you all. I'll see you guys in the next one. I am Brother Minister Mongoose, and I will holler back. Peace.